I like to laugh, but laugh's good.
Laugh's
infectious.
good. That's the clip. Laugh's good.
So I sort of dropped the microphone, forgot that I was working, ran after the horse and got about 50 metres and realised that the racehorse was much quicker than me. She said, "Oh, you're the lunatic that ran on the track." And I said, "Oh, I don't suppose you heard Dad's commentary thinking that the Queen would be listening to Talk Sport on a Thursday afternoon?" And I was like, "Why have I asked her that?"
Welcome to Talk Horse.
Our gallop through the highs and lows of the equestrian world.
I'm Pippa Funnell. I'm an author of a series of children's books, and I have spent my whole life being involved with horses.
I'm Tristan Phipps. I am probably best known for Made in Chelsea. However, I'm an ex-safari guide, a lover of all things horses, horse curious, and learning more and more each week.
Today we have another very familiar face from the world of racing.
He's been reporting since he was 15 years old, so I think he'll have a few stories for us, maybe some tips for me as well.
Yeah, I could do with some tips as well.
On presenting or riding?
I think everything. Everything. But do like and subscribe our podcast. We want loads of people to hear about it. We're excited how well it's going at the moment. And yeah, keep sending in questions. We're here ready to answer them.
Pip's here ready to answer them. So saddle up, join our equestrian community and
let's talk horse. Tristan, how are you?
I'm very good, Pip. How are you?
Good. Are you all right? Because Jules has been away, hasn't she?
She's been on a hot girl summer trip. Well, autumn trip, actually.
In
to
Dubai.
Yeah.
And my husband has not been on a boys' trip. He's been on a show jumping trip in Spain, doing the sort of late sunshine tour in Oliva.
So they've been living their best lives and we've been...
Well, I have to say, poor William, they had torrential rain and 2 days were called off. And he's had classes cancelled and we've had beautiful sunshine at home. But he's back now for 2 days before he...
And it's raining now. Here.
Is it?
What? A slight drizzle?
Not when I got off the bus.
No, you got the bus again. You're getting quite good at your public transport.
Have
you figured it out yet? Did you make any friends today?
No friends. I was quite flustered because I thought I would ride before I came up by train. And so, I rode at home. Hadn't planned what I was going to wear. Everything.
Did you have
was
an
a
outfit
big dash.
You look lovely. This is a very autumnal, nice outfit, I have to say.
Thank you. Watch
very,
it brown. Anyway, for listeners, I'm in brown.
It's very chic, I'd say, and you've matched the boots very nicely to the pant. I like it.
Thank you.
Fashionista over here. And you've got another new scarf?
No, this actually is a scarf I've had for many years, but
nice.
So I know I've been very lucky with Claire Haggis's scarf, but actually no, this is actually one from my drawer because I love the vibrant colours, but I didn't think the vibrant colours went with my brown.
No, this is it's a very good outfit, I have to say.
But anyway, so I was all flustered. You know when you have one of those mornings where, quickly shower, wash my hair, and then I think, oh no, I'm going to now miss the train, and I was trying not to speed, but luckily I couldn't because then I got behind a police car. And then where I normally park at a station, there was a parking place.
What's happening this morning?
I ran flat out to catch this train. I got the train, then got to Vauxhall, couldn't get a taxi, getting not
I'm trying to imagine you on a Lime bike. Have you ever used a Lime bike before? Because that's essentially the stallion.
A Lime bike?
That's like the horse of London.
A Lime bike?
A Lime bike. Have you never seen them?
A lime or lime?
Lime. L-I-M-E.
Oh, is it because it's lime coloured?
Well, I think the company's called Lime, but they are also lime green, I guess, yeah. Have you never seen a Lime bike before? I need to get you one of those. Okay, I'll tell you what, you do a horse lesson for me. Horse riding lesson. I'll do a Lime lesson, because that is the best way to get around London. Maybe wouldn't recommend it if you're feeling flustered, but it's essentially, you use an app, you can unlock an electric bike and you can zoom around London at the speed of, I guess, 1 or 2 horsepower.
Snail for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did get a bus, and yes, it was all... I didn't meet a nice friendly man that helped me, but I did get here. I made it, and now I know the bus route. Done it
like
twice.
The back of your hand.
Yeah.
But it is quite relaxing in our studio, right? This is a peaceful, tranquil setting. I find it very.
What, in our studio?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Our studio.
No dog this week, sadly.
We loved having Mojo in, and it was tough that courtesy car, the Addison Lee driver, wouldn't let poor old Mojo in the
tough
car.
Out here in the streets of London. We had to get a black cab. Oh, God. I'll tell you what, one day I'd like you to bring all of your little Jack Russell Terriers down. I want all of them in here. Just all chaos. 4. All 4. What's the cheeky one called?
Monkey.
There you go. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's very naughty.
Jules and I are still trying to decide on dogs at the moment. We can't make any headway.
Well, if you come and house sit some stage, that will put you off 4 terriers.
Well, I'm trying to convince her for Jack Russell, so maybe we need to. That's been their best behaviour. Well,
there are plenty of squirrels in London that they could chase.
So tell me, what's going on in the horse world at the moment?
Well, we've just had Buccalo, which was the final of the Nations Cup for eventing, and Team GB won the team competition there in Buccalo. That was great. Germany won the sort of overall collection of points sort of thing, but Buccalo is what we call a 4-star long, which is basically the sort of step below the 5-star, Badminton, Burghley and things, where a lot of people take their up-and-coming horses, which are quite high up the ladder. And so you see a lot of really lovely young sort of 9, 10-year-olds that you can often see horses that are going to end up being championship horses of the future. I wasn't there, but I did watch it quite closely because you met Tina Cook. Tina, her daughter Isabel, who's my goddaughter, she was running in her first 4 long, so that was quite fun, and I'd been helping Isabel with the dressage, so it was good following her, and she had a great experience, first one at that level. But Buccalo's known as a bit of the end of season party event, so I was sad not to be there. And then I've still got my Japanese riders. They've just got 1 event each before the season finishes. So
tell me, I'm actually intrigued to know, in the eventing world, is there some sort of kind of ranking or seed system? So at the end of the season, is there kind of a... How do you figure out who's going to place...
There's a monthly rotating world ranking system, of which Harry Mead at the moment is leading, head of the world rankings.
Is that on different starts? So if it's a 4-star event, there'll be...
I think you get points for your top 6 events, basically. And he's got a good team of 5-star horses. He had 3 in the top 10 at Burghley. Laura's right up there, Roz's right up there, Tom McEwen's right up there. So I think we've got 4 out of the top 5 in the world at the moment.
And is that a GB usually top of that eventing ranking?
Well, we've got strength in depth at the moment. It was unfortunate with Harry Mead because he had this accident. I don't know whether we've spoken about it in the summer, where he actually, when you're talking about Lime bikes, all the horses he rides, he actually fell off a bike when he was out with one of his children and really had a nasty, I think he punctured a lung and broke ribs, and he really was in quite a bad way. And because of that, he wasn't selected for the Europeans. He had very good results at Badminton, but he wasn't selected because at that stage he wasn't sort of fit enough. But actually he then went to Burghley, incredible feat, and rode 3 horses having been off.
Cool.
So he didn't get a chance to run at the Europeans.
The irony of performing at a top level in one of the most treacherous and dangerous sports,
and then you fall off a bike.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, stick to 4 legs, not 2 wheels, I reckon. God.
We're lucky. I have a lot of us EcoVolts electric bikes.
I've used one of yours.
Yeah, you have. That's right. Yeah. At Badminton.
It's fun.
And, as much, it's still very important that you walk the cross-country courses. It drives me mad when I see people not walking courses and going around on their bike, because it's important you feel what the ground's like. I like to walk the whole course and know exactly what the ground conditions are like. There might be a bit of firm ground here or there, and on a bike you can't necessarily get that. But with my coaching hat on, oh my word, it really helps being able to, because often the dressage arenas are a long way away from the horse box park or the cross country starters. So as a coach,
get your steps in or your miles in.
It does help to have one of those EcoVolts in this case, but electric bikes.
Shout out EcoVolts. It's quite smart. I feel like it's one of those hacks where with wisdom and experience, you realise that there's nothing wrong with having an electric bike in the back of the truck.
Exactly. And also it's really helpful if you've got a few horses. Like for me, when I had sort of 2 or 3 horses in the day, and
zip up and down.
Well, it helps for the girls. So Emily, my girl, warm up with boots on. Obviously, she's got to possibly get the next horse ready on the lorry, and then she can quickly pedal up to the warm up to take the boots off. Video. I mean, I that's the wonderful thing in this day and age about mobile phones, because all of our dressage tests or show jumping rounds or whatever we can video, because you learn so much from watching things back. In the old days we didn't have any of that, and that's a huge training bonus when you can video stuff and then watch it back.
So do you sit down and analyse stuff when you were riding or with your coach, and you'll sit down and you'll go, right, this is what needs to change?
Yeah, or that's what needs working on, or so. And I think it's useful for me as a rider, but also it's very useful to video the Japanese riders, and then you can talk them through things or talk them through their rounds. And so I think
little classroom session before you get out onto the horse. Imagine Pip there with her. Right, look at the board. Look at this moment.
But I mean, the video footage is a huge training aid.
Technology, eh?
Yeah.
Come on, leaps and bounds.
Yeah, we didn't have that. But having said that, you can't get away with anything.
Well, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? Yeah, can't escape anything, but then you can watch it back if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. Always trying to improve.
Well, listen, obviously you're a very experienced electric bike rider, so I think next time, can you fold it up and put it in your backpack? Maybe I'll download the Lime app for you, so when you get to the station next time, you can get the Lime bike.
I think I'll have a problem folding it up. Yeah. Putting it in my backpack.
I mean, you'll see them all lying around. They are actually a bit of a nuisance. They're all over London, those bright green bikes. So next time, we'll go for a little test drive together, and then instead of using the bus, you can get the Lime bike.
Right.
Shall we bring on today's guest?
Yes, let's.
I think we should.
So today we're joined by Ollie Bell, who's a very familiar face presenting in the paddocks at many of the racecourses, the length and breadth of the country.
Absolutely, a very, very well-established ITV racing presenter. He's part of the team fronting ITV's coverage of the Grand National, a very, very familiar face at the heart of racing, and I believe the Queen once called him a lunatic. So I'm very interested to hear how that story played out.
I'm interested to hear why she thinks he was a lunatic. Or
we've got a lot to talk about.
We have.
So, shall we?
Let's talk horse with Ollie Bell. Ollie, welcome.
Welcome, Ollie.
Thank you very much for having me. Nice to see you all.
In our lovely little...
It's very smart here. I'm very impressed by it. It's a good setup.
Right, first question we always kind of kick off the pod with, and obviously want to hear all about your amazing career in presenting, but how did you first connect with horses?
I think a lot of people will probably say the same answer, really, but my grandparents owned racehorses. So when I would go to my grandparents' house, I'd sort of watch the racing with my granddad. And obviously many people will know, but for those that don't, my uncle's a racehorse trainer, and dad kind of does a similar job to what I do. He's a sort of broadcaster. And a lot of his early stuff was specifically in racing. Now he's kind of broadened out a bit. But just, they had horses in the sort of, I say God, in the field. And so, I just sort of built up to be honest, it was more a love of racing as opposed to a connection with the horse initially. And obviously doing what we do, we spend a lot of time around horses. So I wasn't really a rider. Well, I definitely wasn't a rider.
So you didn't ride as a kid?
I mean, I did the sort of round the worlds and the egg and spoon races in the pony clubs, but I was very much not a natural at it. And it didn't last very long, but it was more the racing and the sort of gambling aspect of it, or trying to pick a winner and things like that really connected with me. And my granddad would always have a bet, so I'd sit on the sort of armchair with him and I'd do the commentary. He'd get really annoyed with me. He'd sort of have a bet, and that was where I sort of built the love of racing. And then obviously you kind of can't help, as I'm sure you're finding, be in this world or hear about people in this world and not get a real love and appreciation for the animal. So it kind of went the other way for me, as opposed to horses first and then racing. It was kind of racing and the other things that come with that, and then the love of the horse.
The racing came, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you spend much time in the saddle?
No, I rode on a beach in Morocco.
It's a nice place to ride.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is a video of it, which I won't be sharing with anyone. But
it can't be worse.
No, I promise you'd be amazed. If anyone saw that video, they'd go, he's definitely not a rider. So no, I very much stick to the to being on the ground as opposed to on a horse.
That is the safer option.
For the safety of the horse, really, more than my own safety, really.
So tell me, so you started this kind of this foray or this journey into your career from a really young age, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, where I went to school had a radio station, so I sort of dipped my toe into kind of. I mean, it was awful, right? Like it was
like a live radio show.
It was called Oscar Radio, and it was broadcast to like a 4-mile radius. So I went to a school called Oundle near Peterborough, and it was kind of within the local area. But it was like it was an actual radio station that sort of normal people could listen to. It wasn't just going to sort of my 3 friends at school, basically. So I sort of realised then that. Because I wasn't going to be a jockey, I didn't really want early starts as a racehorse trainer and the phone calls with owners. And I wanted to very much be a broadcaster. So from the age of about sort of 14 or 15, I basically kind of really focused on doing that.
And was that Dad was presenting then, was he?
Yeah. I mean, it's slightly more kind of nuanced than that, but Dad did that. But there was a period sort of growing up where I grew up with my mum, Dad and Mum split up when I was younger. So I kind of looked at Dad from afar doing that and kind of really wanted to dip my toe into that world. And then when we got to like careers advice at school and they were saying, go and be a landscape gardener. And I was like, I don't really.
I was a landscape gardener.
Really,
I was going to be a bus conductor.
But listen, we all could have gone a very different direction.
Yeah. Well,
they're still hiring.
Imagine us being gardeners. So then I sort of reconnected with Dad and did work experience with Dad. And actually, funny enough, Burley was my first kind of job making tea for Dad and Sam Lloyd, who were doing like the radios. I might have interviewed you along the way badly.
Well, I mean, your father obviously has interviewed me many times.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I did do a tiny bit of homework, and I chuckled to myself because I think I read an article that you might have done with the Telegraph, and it said about one of your first interviews. It was interviewing someone after dressage. I think it was.
Yeah, at Burley.
And you and Ollie thought she had done really, really well because she got a really high score, but he didn't realise that the lower the score, the bottom.
Honestly, she came out crying, and I honestly thought she was crying with like tears of joy. She got 99 or something, which is basically like, the horse basically ran into the stands. It was like absolutely horrific. So I've gone.
Was it this moment he knew he'd have a successful career?
I went, what an amazing round. And this, I can't remember who it was. I'd love to remember who it was in floods of tears. And bless her, she was like, please start this again. You've got this so wrong. And obviously from then it showed me that I need to sort of I should have researched before.
That's a lesson I need to learn.
Do some homework and probably watch what you're going to be be person about. But I learned very quickly that the higher the score, the worse the test, basically.
I've just about learned that lesson.
In eventing.
So I did a little bit of homework late last night. And fun enough, I actually was on the phone to Mick. I had to speak to Mick Fitzgerald. Fitzy, whose son Oscar is coming. And I said, can you dig up any dirt on Ollie? Ollie's coming in tomorrow. So you'll be glad to hear I actually did write a list, but annoyingly, I left it on the office desk.
Okay.
So,
well, it would have just said, lovely guy, great to work with, does his research.
But funny enough, I did actually Google you. And one of the first things that came up is Ollie in a relationship on Google search. Sorry, but you don't have to go into it. But it wasn't like, well, obviously high up.
Aren't you?
What?
Stay away from the Daily Mail. It's nothing nice.
No, it's Telegraph.
Oh,
there's a few stories about that. I think there's Ollie Bell husband as well comes up on Google.
Yeah, so it was very high up.
This could be an exclusive.
If you, I don't have a husband. If that's what you're asking. But that's a minefield. That place.
The internet.
Yeah. But no, I am in a relationship. If that's what you're asking.
Are you propositioning, or are you just asking out of curiosity?
So I was just what I was saying. Obviously, I spoke to Mick, and what I didn't know about, I had no idea, which maybe is quite fun to discuss. Is your gambling, as in your poker?
Oh yeah, no, that's quite good. Yeah, that's a cool story, actually. Well, I think it's a cool story because when I started at Racing UK, so I didn't go to university because I didn't get very good grades and I didn't really want to. And I always wanted to just sort of set out and kind of
Landscape
gardener. Learn about gardening. And then, so I started off as a runner basically at Racing UK. And we had like
that was your first job with racing, and I was at 18.
18, yeah. So I'd done like some work experience in other sports with that and stuff, and then got a full-time job, had a screen test, and they sort of employed me with one eye on being a presenter. But when I was 18, I looked about 11 and my voice had only just broken. So, and I was about, 5'2". So I was a long way off looking old enough to present a TV show, let alone be anywhere near good enough to do it. So I had kind of like 2 or 3 years behind the scenes, which was the best grounding. If anyone's listening to this, I really would advise, it's probably the same in any of our industries, really, learn the ropes, absorb as much information as you can. And without being put in the limelight, it can happen a bit quickly in sport as well. I think you can kind of get to the top quickly and then not really know how to handle it. So I was just able to kind of listen to great people and get so much advice and knowledge. We had an office poker tournament every month in the pub next to the studios. And at the time we had this American racing channel. So there were a lot of American gamblers, and there was a poker player there called Dave Gutfreund. And I don't know where I learned poker from. I think it was from my mum, but it was always on telly late at night at the time. So I used to watch it like religiously, basically. Anyway, I did all right in this office poker tournament. And I was on, I think, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was like 11 grand a year was my starting salary. So I was on peanuts, really. And anyway, this guy, Dave, walked into the office with a briefcase and it had 30 grand in cash in it.
Oh, he's going, perfect.
And I'm making someone tea and he's going, I want you to play poker for me, like round, initially London, but like if it goes well, round the world.
He's recruiting you to play
so
poker. So
he's like investing in me
you
to
took
play.
so much of his cash in the friendly games that he wants you
to. So it's like a serious profession, is it?
Yeah. Well, back then. And then, so I was like, this is incredible. Like I've never seen that amount of money. Like what do I do with it?
For you.
Yeah. So I went to the Barclays Bank in Teddington High Street and opened up a bank account for this sort of joint venture where he was essentially investing in me. And I'd never been to a casino before, nothing. And he goes, the first tournament you're playing in is the London Poker Masters at the Gutshot Casino, which is now shut down. And I came fourth in it, I think.
Wow.
But I was ringing him up going like, where do I sign in? Like, what do I do in the break? Like, my mum rang me and it was on telly, the final table. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, turn on Channel 5 and you'll see what I'm up to or whatever. So anyway, that was a good result. He kind of made his money back in that one sort of fell. I got a phone call from Sky Racing in Australia who wanted a young international racing presenter to launch an international racing channel. And I was the youngest and only sort of racing presenter under the age of 40, I think, at the time. So I didn't have much competition. So I went down there, gave up poker for 3 years or whatever, kind of parked it, really never thought about it. And then in lockdown, everyone sort of played with their mates and stuff. And I've kind of taken it up. And then the other day, played in the UK Poker Championships and came fourth, which was good. So won quite a lot.
That's very impressive to just kind of
quite a lot of money. Yeah.
So how do you become a good poker player? Just asking for a friend. But is that kind of where the connection with the gambling and the betting with the horses? Have you got a good affiliation with numbers?
I think there must be something in it to reading people, isn't there? Because I think, like when we do that quizzes, I can read whether you're bluffing or not. There must be a bit
shocking poker face.
There must be a bit. Well, I am a secret gambler. I am actually. Well, I'm not a secret gambler, but I have. Every once in a while, I might go to a casino and I do like...
When I say casino, your eyes did light up there.
I reckon you're a blackjack kind of guy.
Yeah, I do like blackjack. And I actually like a bit of roulette too. But anyway, but you must have to slightly... Do you have to read other people a bit to know what they've got in their hand?
I think what's really interesting is actually when I was starting my career as a kind of broadcaster, interviewer, whatever, what poker taught me was actually... knowing when to sort of press for an answer. Reading the room is essentially what you're doing. When you sit down at a table, you have to work out, and you get loud players, you get quiet players, and you have to know when to sort of press up or fold. So it actually helped me kind of in my job now. But yeah, I mean, there's lots to it, and if you said to me, teach me how to play poker, I could tell you like good hands versus bad hands, and tell you like spots, and there's like bet sizing and stuff. But really, I'm not sat there with sunglasses on and a hood up, kind of like analysing everyone. I'm just sort of playing what's in front of me. And at certain times, you do get a sense. We're in the final table of this tournament I was playing in Nottingham. The guy next to me was in a big hand with another player. And I could feel his legs shaking next to me. I wasn't in the hand, but I wish I was, because I would have known he was very nervous.
Is that anticipation or is that nerves?
No, he was nervous. It was near it would have cost a lot of money, the decision he was about to make. So there's tiny things, but actually, I do think that when you're an interviewer, you need to know how people are feeling about the questions you're asking, and whether you can sort of pry a bit more or ease off. And I think that's essentially what you're doing in poker, really.
I don't think we've learnt that yet, have we?
You're nailing it, yeah. I mean, I'm analysing you all. You're both lovely, and you should play poker. You'll be very good at it.
Press him a bit further.
Yeah. But the answer to your question is the gambling. So I'd have I wouldn't be like a massive, I'm not like a professional gambler or anything. But as I said, I would have a bet on a horse race, and then kind of poker came after that. But I mean, I know that you probably don't want to encourage gambling, but as my entry into the sport, I do think the puzzle of racing is quite cool to try and solve it. And I don't think you need to bet big, but actually going to the races and having £1 on a race, having, spent time trying to work out what will happen, I think that is part of the sort of magic of the sport in many ways. And if you get it right, I mean, there's no better feeling. Well,
because I think I might have discussed this before, because we've had Mick on, Fitzy on an episode. We have Plunks, who obviously both of them very, very well. But I don't do enough research. It's not often I go to the races. I love going to Cheltenham and the festival. Usually try and go for a couple of days. But I tend to go down to the paddock and love trying to spot the horse.
Eye up the horses. Yeah.
But I'm not very good at that, because I often pick the nicest.
Well, okay, let's be honest. Statistically speaking, we chatted with Mick about this as well. Like, if a horse is kind of going to be pegged as the winner, is that statistically very likely? Because I mean, there's so many variables that might happen on the day, but it seems to be kind of some, more often than not, the favourite is the favourite.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, statistically speaking, it would be a 2-to-1 shot win, 1 in every 2 times. But that what you're doing and saying there, like going to look at the horse you like, there's lots of different ways you might approach trying to find the winner. And the market, I guess what you're saying is the market right? The market isn't always right, which is part of the fun of it, right? And horses can have off days and things like that. But ultimately, the challenge I like is trying to work out whether the market is right or wrong. And it's the same in poker, you're looking for value, essentially. You're trying to find a spot where your hand is good, essentially. And if you put your chips in, or if you back, if you back an even money shot and it's more right than you're wrong, flipping a coin, you're going to come out in front long term. And I think what people need to understand with gambling is you might only make sort of 5% ROI over a year, but that's still quite a good return. You don't need to go in and win 7 races on a day to, it's a long game, basically. It's not just like every race, basically. That's where you're going wrong, Pip. Yeah, big money on one horse. Do gamble, or you're playing roulette, which is definitely not odds in your favour. So I think that's probably where you're going wrong.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm not, and I wouldn't, at the races, I wouldn't put a lot of,
I get a bit carried away. I get
a $5 each.
I've got a nice suit on, I've had a few drinks.
But there is obviously an element of me, I mean, we can bring it out, because I know it comes up a lot, and it's, we don't want to go into it in big detail, but there is an element when I watch that you just hope everyone comes home safely.
Oh, of course. I mean, that is the main thing, really.
And I think it's important, to touch on how, these horses are bred to be athletes. Because we do, this comes up a lot, doesn't it? And you must be have come up against that as a presenter, and I think now it's much more transparent, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what I would say from being in meetings with racecourses, with the Jockey Club regarding the Grand National, for example, I mean, their focus on welfare is, I think, even more than what people would imagine it to be. Like, it is their, I don't want to say it's their sole focus, but it pretty much is their sole focus, because for a race like the Grand National, which is has such global interest on it, I mean, the priority for everyone involved in the sport is that the horses come back safe and sound. And it is a sport that does have risks attached to it. So it's not going to be completely, 100% safe in that sense. But I know from working in it sort of as close as I do and broadcasting it to the sort of masses, if you like, that is absolutely the sort of, that is considered beyond anything really, and I'm very proud of that actually, because I know that when I stand there and talk to people and say, this horse has been given every care and check possible to ensure its well-being of running in the race, and obviously things happen, I know that is true basically, and I know that sometimes we have to broadcast really, really bad and the most terrible news, but I do know that everything has happened leading up to it and during it and after it to make sure that horse is looked after as best it can be. And you know from looking after horses yourself, and I've seen it from going to my uncle's yard and seeing the care they get. I know it's sort of repeated from everyone involved in the industry, but I promise you, it is. When I stay at my uncle's, I'd rather stay in one of the stables that the horses are in than the.
And then, I mean, all the time too, it's progressing in the right direction. I mean, as you know, Tristan, you might not be aware, but they didn't used to have pre-race checks, do they? Now they have to be checked thoroughly and be seen to trot up before a race.
Yeah.
So they aren't they can't run in a race unless they're which is the same in eventing at the 3-day events. You have veterinary inspections,
which is a very positive change, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That horse got taken out actually before a race at Newmarket the other day because it failed the BHA's vet check. Yeah. So, these things that probably people don't see are increasing all the time, and rightly so, because we do operate with again, I sound like a bit of a sort of cliche machine at the moment, but we do have a social license, and it has changed to what it was even 20, 30 years ago, when I was growing up watching the sport. It's changed massively, people's perception of the sport and what is needed to ensure that the nation and everyone is comfortable with what's taking place, because it's probably not quite as popular as it was 30 years ago. And there are lots of reasons for that. People's habits have changed, etc. But ultimately, if we can stand there proudly and say, look, this is
the welfare is
taken care of to the best of our abilities, then hopefully people will have an understanding that this is a sport that provides so much to so many, and it can carry on, basically.
It's an interesting point you said, because I would genuinely be interested, you say the sport is, maybe less popular than it was 30 years ago. From my understanding, a lot of the larger events in the calendar are super popular, sell out instantly, tons of people, but the smaller events throughout the year perhaps don't have the same sort of attendance. What do you reckon it is that has changed? Why do you reckon the sport isn't getting as many people watching it, or if that is the case?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting point, and I think it's very layered. But ultimately, I think nowadays, it's far more urban, the country we live in, than it was 50 years ago. So people don't probably have the connection with the horse that they did, a few decades ago growing up. I think people's habits have changed. I think people sort of watch a lot of things on their phone and probably don't want to spend a day watching the racing in front of the telly. They get distracted easily. What I would say is that actually there has been a bit of an influx recently through things like Invades, getting uni students to the race course. And actually when you see the students go racing, they all seem to have a brilliant time. And a day of the race is a really good day. Really good day out.
Have you been to Cheltenham?
I mean, it's wicked.
I love it.
It's great.
And I think, but I do think that there is, and this is probably slightly controversial, but I do think there's a bit of an arrogance in racing that we're the sport of kings and people will just come. And I think actually that tagline actually ostracizes quite a lot of people. Nowadays, as I say, there's lots more inner cities, it's a lot more urban. And I think we have to actually go to people as opposed to expect people to come to us.
Yeah.
I did a thing with Khadija Mello in Brixton, and I'm a patron of Ebony Horse Club in Brixton, which isn't too far. Well, we're on Brixton Road, so it's very near.
I think I'm just about to come ambassador.
We can pop down at lunch and go say hi.
That's what we were talking. Charlotte and I were talking about it.
You should go and say, if you've not been, I mean, I'm sure if you're about to become an ambassador, then it's just literally round the corner. But it's this small paddock underneath sort of 4 tower blocks, and it's kind of a community centre for children in Brixton and Peckham in that area. And it's just an extraordinary place. But you see these incredible children, really talented children, who have got an amazing love for the animal, that has been built kind of out of nowhere, really. And I look at that and go, look, we need to be going to these people and taking them to our sport rather than just expecting them to come, because to them, they probably have never been to Cheltenham or heard of Cheltenham, let alone know what a brilliant place it is. So I think as a sport, we probably need to be more proactive in terms of reaching out to people, as opposed to just kind of going, we're amazing and we're rich and we can buy nice horses and stuff like that. Like, I think ultimately sometimes we can be a bit... arrogant is probably the wrong word, but the best word I can think of in this instance. I think, like I see it and I sort of cringe a bit sometimes.
It's the same in our sport, so it gives off the wrong impression, because it makes out that everyone in the industry is like that, and they're not at all.
But even having I know that this gets onto a different point. I don't know how I'm here, but anyway, they've changed dress codes at certain courses, which I think is really important, because.
Let us know, just in case I go wearing the wrong stuff. The Jockey Club
have dropped dress codes, so you can wear what you want to the races. I think that's when you go to a football match, you don't get told what to wear, right? And football's like the most popular sport, or rugby, or any sport, you can wear what you want. Also having areas, right? It's almost going like, we're better than you. We're like, you're wealthy, so you can come and see the horses by the paddock. And actually, if you can't afford it, you're going to be down there, bring your own sandwiches and stuff. Like, that's nonsense, right? In my opinion. Yeah. If you want people to connect with the sport and the animals, let them see the animals, like take them to the paddock.
Absolutely.
Allow everyone, whether you can afford it or not, in terms of the enclosure you can afford to buy, even if it's for one race or two races, because you need to you can't have everyone in one area, like at least give them the opportunity to see it. And by saying like, I think that is essentially saying like, we're a bit better than you, like we can afford it. And that's just, I don't know whether I can swear, but that's that attitude in life is
absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It frustrates me, because I look at it and go, we're saying we're a sport for everyone, and yet we're literally actioning things that mean we're not. There's a very quick fix to that, I think. And I think dropping the dress codes is a start, but I think so much more can be done to allow everyone to feel a part of it. And then it gets into lots of layers about sort of diversity and things like that, and sexism. Not sexism. I don't think the sport is necessarily sexist, but allowing women to have opportunities, and it's getting better, but it's still not like there was no female rider was on Champions Day. Holly's amazing. Safi, who's injured at the moment, may have been there, but we can still do so much more. And actually, when you look around the imagery of a race course, there's very few diverse people in the crowd. So. And now they're getting better at putting the advertising is being a lot more broad and diverse in terms of the imagery you see about British racing. But for a long time, it wasn't happening. So, these are things, small wins that you can have that will change the landscape of the sport. And in my opinion, it doesn't take an awful lot. And by doing that, it will hopefully open it up to people who haven't been before. And when you go, you love it. Like it's full of adrenaline. Yeah. It's great fun with your mates. There's so many things to do, and
you come back.
You get the bug, right? I got the bug because my grandparents were involved in it. Lots of people in this chair will say the same, but you don't need to have family in it to go to the races and get the bug. And so hopefully we can change that a bit.
Tell you what, I have got right though: punditry on ITV Racing. Well, tell me how you've gone from being in Australia, first job, to then kind of, I'd say, being one of the front men for ITV Racing and, bringing that sport to life in that way.
Well, I genuinely feel very fortunate, and any time I needed like a door to open it, I was like, it's cliched again.
Was it Life's a Corridor?
Yeah.
Pip's favourite.
Absolutely. But to me, I think more so than ever, really, because when I had that decision about poker or presenting, Australia rang, so that kind of took me very much down that route again. And then when I came back, Channel 4 lost the rights to show racing on terrestrial television, and it went to ITV. And ITV wanted to kind of freshen it up from the Channel 4 team. And so I was, again, right place, right time. I missed out on the Channel 4 job 2 years previously. And then Channel 4 lost the contract. So had I got the Channel 4 contract 2 years before, maybe I wouldn't have been on ITV, and then my life would have taken a very different path. So, and there are presenters in the sport, like Tom Stanley, who's a really good friend of mine, he presents on Racing TV. He's a brilliant presenter, but because I had started 2 years before him, I was perceptually probably one slot up the ladder to him, but he's probably better than me at presenting. But because, I'd started a bit before. So things like that have kind of fallen into place for me. But I got a phone call when ITV got the rights, and it kind of went from there. And I'm very lucky to be part of it. Broadcasting a sport I love with, you've mentioned them. It's just great people, right? Like going to work with people you've met and is like
such a great team,
it's just
fun
cool.
team.
Yeah.
So you didn't meet William Fox-Pitts.
I met Al.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at Burley.
That's right.
Badminton.
She stood in for you when you.
She would have.
Tristan goes off a
she's
bit.
Great.
She's a star.
Yeah, she's a legend.
And then obviously,
they're a great crowd. Everyone's a great
Lou, we have a lot of. It's just a nice team. We're all sort of slightly different ages, different backgrounds. Some were jockeys. Ed, myself, kind of didn't come in from that world as such. But I do feel so, without sounding too sort of smug, like I do feel so lucky to be able to do what I do for a living. Like I've never ever thought what I do a job. Like you might be the same.
No, we're doing this.
Yeah.
I love it because you're sat in a room talking to people that you're fascinated to hear their
And actually,
stories.
Nowadays, people don't do this very often. You don't sit and talk for an hour with someone. It's so cool. Like I feel very lucky to be asked on. But I don't take it for granted. I know that we have like a responsibility to the sport, and there is a lot of money involved in it. But ultimately, I also think it's really important to show that it's fun, that it's vibrant, and that side of things I love. And I don't take it too seriously, I think, because that's still my motto to life, really. But I think you can kind of make it a bit bigger than what in reality it's horses running around the field, basically. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I love what I do, and I've never thought of it as a job, really. But I do appreciate the position I'm in, and don't take it for granted because of that.
What's great about your job as well is you obviously meet some very interesting people.
Yeah.
And there's one person in particular who I know you're a big fan of, I should say, and who you've met before, who may have called you a lunatic.
Yeah, the Queen.
The Queen.
Yeah.
Please, coming then.
Please tell us.
Who's that then?
Tom Cruise? That was yours. Tell us how that happens. So, rumour has it she called you a lunatic.
Yeah, so my uncle won the Gold Cup at Ascot, and it was the first year of ITV, actually, and I was doing the winning jockey interview, so I waited by the winning line, essentially. And I could only hear the commentary in my ear, and Richard Hoyles did a brilliant commentary, and he said he thought Big Orange had Big Orange as the name of the horse, had won. So I sort of dropped the microphone, forgot that I was working, basically. Ran after the horse and got about 50 metres and realised that a racehorse was much quicker than me.
All this time in punditry, I didn't realise that fast.
Then I came back, did the interview, and like Taffy, who was leading the horse up, and James Doyle, the jockey, they were sort of in floods of tears. And it was great for I was really proud of my uncle to win. So, it's the blue ribbon of the week at Ascot. Anyway, I did the interview and it was all very professional. And then celebrated quite hard that night with the family at Ascot in the car park after racing. I don't know whether you went.
Like tailgating, but for a really fancy version.
Yeah. Tailgating with caviar after a race there.
Best kind of tailgating.
Now you're sounding posh.
Yeah. We didn't have caviar there. We just drank a lot, basically. And Dad ended up sleeping in the Ascot car park. He got so drunk that he couldn't drive home. But I thought, when I was told this story, that he slept in his car. Anyway, someone very kindly put him up in, I think someone put him up in one of the houses around there. Anyway, the next day I'm walking around the parade ring because I'm now doing the interviews with the trainers in the parade ring, and we're about to go for a break. So I can hear the show in my ear, and they've got a shot of the Queen who has a runner in the next race. And Macca, the director's going, right, we'll just stay on the shot of the Queen, go to a break. Ollie, go and find someone to interview. And I get a tap on the shoulder from John Warren, who said, the Queen would like to meet you. So I walk into the shot of that Macca's on to go to the break, and he's going, well, we'll have to stay on this. So I can hear him going, what's Ollie doing in there?
He just got strolled up to the Queen.
What's happening? Anyway, so I'm sort of flustered at this stage, take my hat off. Dad comes over as well, because Dad... And I said to her, I don't suppose... Because Dad's commentary on the race was amazing. Like, it was the most sort of, like, biased, one-sided... Yeah. Like, he was yelling Big Orange to win. And I said to the Queen, I said, She said, you're the lunatic that ran on the track. And I was like, yeah, sorry. And I said, I don't suppose you heard Dad's commentary thinking that the Queen would be listening to Talk Sport on a Thursday afternoon. And I was like, why have I asked her that? And then I told the Queen that Dad stayed in the car park, and Dad was very embarrassed and annoyed with me for that. But it was an amazing moment, and, it's talked about a lot. But it was very special to have that with Dad and with the family, and obviously to meet the Queen, who, as you know, just absolutely adored the sport and genuinely was like feeding off our excitement and enjoyed that moment and like kind of laughed with everyone at the time. And I don't think anything that will happen on ITV. I mean, it sounds like I set a fairly low bar, perhaps, but that won't ever be topped. I don't think, for like a week, and for everything, the stars were aligned, and it was just, something I'll never forget. I've got the photo of me running after the horse in my office, and it's very special.
Because your uncle, he's won all the big races, hasn't he?
His career is remarkable. It was his birthday party the other day in Newmarket. He was 65, and he'll hate me for saying that. Anyway, and I think he's trained like 1,800 winners, but he's won a Derby in Oaks. He's won the Nunthorpe, won the Gold Cup. He's done it kind of any distance, any horse. And actually, I sort of forget just how good a CV he's had. And, he's having a bit of a resurgence as well, which is great. I'm really pleased for him and his son, Nick, who's kind of the assistant trainer there, my cousin. They're doing really, really well. And it's nice to see because, get a good horse. If someone who can do it is sent a good horse, it is a lot the horse. So, they're getting good horses again, which is nice to see that yard kind of bouncing again. He's had a great career and been very lucky to be able to sort of cheer him on. I mean, a lot of people
literally cheer.
People come over and go like, "Well done" to me when they have a winner, and I have nothing to do with it. Thank you. I quite enjoy lapping up the sort of success of it through the years.
So you really do have like sport and kind of this whole world is quite definitely heavily etched into your family.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was only ever interested in, I still am really, to be honest. It's the only thing I'm interested in, and any sport. And I've been lucky enough at ITV to present other sports as well. So I've done snooker, which I absolutely love. I highly recommend going to the Crucible if anyone's a snooker
you couldn't get two more different sports than snooker and racing to present.
Snooker is like the most...
It's so popular.
I mean, it was hugely popular. It's really interesting, like the popularity, and there's real like fandom with it. But I went to the Crucible for the World Championships to watch it, and people go like, what would you recommend as a sporting thing to go to? A day at the snooker at the World Championships at the Crucible in Sheffield is one of the greatest days out, because we're talking about you don't get the opportunity for like an hour to sit and talk to people. You also don't get an opportunity to sit in like total silence for like 3 hours. And it's like therapeutic, it's meditative, it's like so much skill involved. And I was just in awe of like it. And it was so peaceful. I like loved it. And to present it was a real kind of privilege. But it was, I probably shouldn't say this, but it was like really quite easy, really, compared to racing. Racing's a 4-hour long broadcast where
quick, isn't it?
Yeah, racing? There's only like 10 minutes of sport. So you're filling for like...
Do you know enough about snooker to present?
Oh, yeah. I love snooker. I know a lot. But that, you kind of go, welcome to the show, let's enjoy the match. You sit in the green room eating a takeaway with Stephen Hendry, and then you sort of go, well, that was great, wasn't it? And then you go home and do it all again the next day.
Stephen Hendry was involved. Was he involved with horses or racing or something?
No. He's been to Ascot a few times. A lot of the snooker players, John Parrott's had horses, John Virgo loved a bet. Like a lot of the guys in the snooker world would. Neil Folds loves his racing. They like their racing.
And obviously a lot of football.
Yeah, absolutely. So
big into the racing.
And I've done a couple of football matches and got to know a few footballers from racing, basically. Glenn Johnson, who's a good friend of mine, owns a lot of horses. Funny enough, I went to the NFL on Sunday and I saw Chris Wood there, and he owns horses. So we had a chat. Well, it's just when you meet these people, like I don't really get, other than today, starstruck. But you meet these people who like. Russell Wilson, who's like I love NFL, and he's a quarterback, or was a quarterback. He's sort of on the bench now, but he was at Ascot with his wife Sierra, and like these are like mega superstars in America, and all they want to talk about is like horse racing, right?
Amazing, like perfect.
So you're like you just have a chat about something I really love, and it's kind of nice, really, because for them it's probably nice not to be like asked about NFL or football or whatever and switch off, and that's again what racing can provide, a bit of a release from the day to day, basically.
Fascinating. All these fun characters you meet.
Yeah.
That is, so I obviously, with quite an established career in presenting, have you had any shocking on-air disasters? Has there been any moments that have really gone, oh no?
Yeah, there's been a couple.
Minus not knowing that the higher
one's
the
bad, actually, where I don't know whether I can say, but what, like I was wearing, this is actually quite embarrassing.
Let us listen to it and we can decide
whether
it should be edited or not.
It's a bit embarrassing for me, but like I was wearing, it was at Cheltenham, and I was in the social stable, which I did with Chris Hughes for a bit. and I was wearing these sort of cream chinos. And I went to the loo.
It's a dangerous sport. No, that's more dangerous than racing.
Anyway, I went to the loo and thought nothing of it, and then came back on air, and like I hadn't shaken or whatever you need to do, and there was just massive. So I was getting low, like my phone went, like I ran back. I was
this massive what?
And it was like a puddle,
a dribble,
like a real dribble, yeah.
Oh, dribble.
Yeah, anyway.
I thought you were going to say.
No. No. And my phone was going bananas, and I was going, so checked it after I'd done the like live hit, and it was like there was pictures on there. It was so embarrassing.
Shocking.
Yeah, that was pretty.
So that's why you only wear dark trousers.
Yeah, I'll never wear.
Well, no, because it was showy dark trousers as well.
Cream chinos.
Cream chinos. I think it's quite a known thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's very much known for me now.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All these problems women don't have to face.
I haven't had any like total. I mean, I interviewed Charlie Mann once live, thinking I went to him and asked him about a horse, thinking he was a different trainer, and he just looked at me and went, "You've got the wrong guy." So
I'm not that guy.
How you rode back from that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Just back out.
How are you getting on? But no, I mean, actually, and I think ultimately, when things go a bit wrong, it's actually a bit more. It's better. It's better telly, right? Like
it's got to be an injection of personality.
I don't mind it. Like,
if
I wouldn't be embarrassed, or like, I don't mind if I make a bit of a fool of myself. Like, it is what it is. And I think actually, people warm to you a bit more if you do cock up a bit. And
I think I've done that quite a few times, actually.
But it's better, right? Like, that's the thing. And actually seeing. The stuff you guys have done, it's like very authentic, meeting you now properly, you can really see that warmth that you create. And that might come from moments that go a bit wrong, or you might not know, like actually people warm to that more than if you pretend to be something you're not. And I think that's really important. When I started out, when I started at ITV, I probably tried to be a bit of a, slick and polished presenter, and that's just kind of not. Well, hopefully I am that as well, but that's not really me. So I think it's important to just kind of be yourself and laugh at yourself.
But even in sport, I mean, people relate to you far more when you're sitting on the ground. I had a photo taken of me at the Drought Hatchery at Burley, sitting on the ground in wet weather, drenched, looking up at my horse.
Yeah.
And
that's the photo they'll talk about more than the one of you holding a trophy, right?
Success. They're interested in.
But that's what authenticity. I think is the key word these days. People don't want to.
You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
You have to.
I think it's very important.
I think that's probably something that the horsey, the riders.
I cry a lot at myself as well, though.
As you said, the horse keeps you humble, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have to have a laugh.
Well, you do have to keep. You absolutely have to get your humour.
Yeah. I'm interested to know if you giggle or cry more as a
I often laugh. I do laugh. I like to laugh, but laugh's good.
Laugh's good. That's the clip.
Smiling.
Laugh's good.
Yeah. There's a great poem, something about smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu.
Yeah. It's very true.
It takes more muscles to frown than just to smile. There you go.
Oh God, I've got so many lines from frowning.
Botox can fix that.
That's on my own. I frown a lot.
Never. Before we finish, Ollie, I'm sure a lot of people will be fascinated. You've had such a fantastic career in presenting, and there's a lot of people who might listen to this who maybe want to follow in your footsteps. Those of us who don't necessarily feel like they have to be in the saddle to be connected with the sport, would you give any advice to them? What would that be?
Well, I think it kind of loops back to a lot of the stuff I've said already, probably. But it's very important to sort of learn the ropes and kind of absorb as much information as you can. It depends kind of what age people are at and their level of experience. But for me, I can only speak on what I sort of went through. And I think it's really important to as I say, to kind of garner as much information from people who have kind of been in it, who have done it, who have lived it as you can before you sort of extend. A lot of people probably want to get, and again, especially nowadays when people can become famous overnight on TikTok and whatever, to be a presenter or a journalist, you do need that sort of experience and grounding, I think. Be authentic, be yourself. And this is really corny, I know, but I think it's really important to be polite, work hard, turn up on time, do the basics right, because people in our sport and in racing, what I found is it is a really competitive industry, but actually it is a bit of a bubble and a bit of a roadshow, and people will help each other out. You see when jockeys are injured or something, when things go wrong, there is a real rally
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Ollie,
you very
much.
It's
been
a
really great one.
Thank you for having me.
I thought he was very, very, very good. And do you know what? I'm glad he's so busy with ITV Racing because he was up for taking my job at one point. And if he hadn't been so busy, he'd probably be sat here opposite you now. So
he would. Yeah, he
don't
would.
sound so happy about it.
No, I mean, you know, I can't believe he turned me down as being a co-host with me.
I know.
No,
missed the trick there, Ollie. But a very, very fascinating guest, I have to say. And I've learned a lot about the racing world. I've always been really fascinated about racing. I've been to quite a few of the races, but I feel like now I've got some of the insight which will maybe make me some money, but also allow me to understand what's going on a bit more because I've been a bit clueless. Eventing I'm getting, racing, I guess you just got to...
Maybe we should go to the races together.
We should do that, actually. That would be really fun.
I think we should chat up. I think we should try and go to Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Cheltenham maybe Gold Cup Day.
Yeah. Let's have a talk horse day out. We'll get dressed up, get a few pound notes. Don't do those anymore, pound coins. Probably don't take those bets either these days, do they? £5 notes. Go have some fun at the races. I
think we should. And maybe
crash Ollie Bell's interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe he might ask us. And Al, obviously.
We've got a few connections in that world.
Al Fox-Pitt and Rosie Tapner, they'll be there.
We've got mates in the world now.
So we know now, we're meeting people.
Surely we can
and we can go and cheer on Hen.
Yeah.
Mick Fitzgerald, we know them all.
We're tripping over racing mates.
We are. So
I think we start utilising those connections,
Yeah.
Just go have some fun.
So please keep supporting the podcast so that we get to go to Cheltenham, meet more talk horse on the road.
It's kind of research, isn't it, really? Because we can go meet more people there that we can bring onto the pod. So it's basically work.
Yes.
So make sure you leave us a review and share it with as many people as possible. Like, subscribe, follow, all of that fun stuff.
And then make sure also that you join us next time because we've got so much more horse talk to share with you.
Bye.
Bye.